if you are repeatedly having to say in very strong terms that what he has said is unacceptable, why are you still endorsing him?
People ask me, what do you think about Trump? Honestly, I don't care for him much, and I certainly don't trust Hillary.
President Obama calling out Republicans for supporting Trump, and GOP Congressman Mike Coffman of Colorado coming out against Trump in a commercial as part of his campaign for re-election. And it's time now for our Sunday group. Syndicated columnist George Will, Gerald Seib of the Wall Street Journal, Lisa Lerer, who covers politics for the Associated Press, and Washington Examiner contributor Lisa Boothe. Well, Jerry, how damaging was this week for Donald Trump, and was it irreparable?
Very damaging, not necessarily irreparable, I think I would say. We had a poll this week. I think the number that scared Republicans most wasn't the fact that Hillary Clinton is in our poll up by 9 points, 8 points, 10 points in other polls. But we have a number that asks people, which kind of Congress do you prefer after this election? One controlled by Democrats, one controlled by Republicans. A month ago, that was an even question, even break, 46-46. Now Democrats are up by 4 points. I think what really changed this week was Republicans looked at the Trump campaign and said, it's in trouble, but you know what? It's the kind of trouble that can drag us down. And now you're seeing a separation in the party, a presidential campaign going this way, congressional election campaigns going that way.
I want to pick up on that with you, Lisa Boothe. We saw the long and winding road that Trump went to finally on Friday endorse Paul Ryan and John McCain and Kelly Ayotte after first saying he wouldn't endorse them. We just saw that ad from a Republican congressman running for re-election, beginning it by saying that he doesn't like Donald Trump. How much trouble is Trump in with his own party?
Well, that does present challenges for Donald Trump, obviously. I mean, it's not good when your own party is coming out with ads distancing themselves from you. But I actually think some of the disasters that Donald Trump has faced over the past 2 weeks could potentially be the best thing that could have happened to him, because sometimes candidates need to get their teeth knocked in to force directional changes that are needed for the campaign, that are beneficial for the campaign. And what we saw is Donald Trump endorsing Paul Ryan, Senator McCain, and Ayotte as well, which is a recognition that he needs the Republican Party, he needs the Republican base to win a general election. What we've also seen is he's hired Cambridge Analytics, despite in May saying he doesn't need data and analytics, hiring the firm that was behind Brexit, who identified first-time voters and was able to bring them out and get them out to vote. That's a positive step for his campaign. We also saw the fact that he actually outraised Hillary Clinton in direct donations, $64 million to her, $63 million, a 69% increase in small dollar donations, which is a positive step for his campaign. And also, after getting hit with $234 million in radio and TV buys by Clinton and her allies, there's been reports that his campaign is finally looking into securing some ad time and ad buys for this election. So I think maybe it was a bad couple weeks. We're all going to agree on that. But perhaps this is sort of the forced change that his campaign needs.
Then we have Hillary Clinton, who by all accounts had a very strong week until, as we've said on, on Friday, she once again kicked up the controversy over her private emails and what FBI Director Comey said about them. And last night, Donald Trump had some fun with how she explained it. Here Trump is.
Unstable Hillary Clinton. I think that the people of this country don't want somebody that's going to short circuit up here.
George, how do you explain Hillary Clinton and her continuing troubles with the emails?
Well, there's no good explanation, which is why they throw a lot of dust in the air. The old saying in law, if you have the law on your side, argue the law. If you have the facts on your side, argue the facts. If you have neither, pound the table. She's in the pounding table mode at the moment. The question really is, however, does this resonate? Have people said, well, we've already made our mind up about this, for her or against her, with Comey or against him? So now I have a doubt as to whether this resonates when people go into the voting booth in November.
Why?
Because it's already baked in the number that's in your poll, which is, they've said, not honest and trustworthy. That's largely, not exclusive, but largely related to this, and they've made up their minds.
So in other words, if you're against her, you already, whatever your feelings are, you've already baked the private emails into it.
It's unclear how many undecided voters there are in the country, but surely those who are undecided are not undecided about this. It seems to me people have probably said, if we're for her in spite of that. If we're opposed to her, we're opposed to her because of that. But they've factored it in.
Lisa, how much frustration at Clinton headquarters in Brooklyn with the fact that she just, I mean, even though that politically, or rather legally, she's in the clear, FBI Director Comey and Attorney General Lynch say that they're not going to prosecute her, politically she can't seem to get rid of this.
Well, and perhaps a surprising twist, folks at campaign headquarters agree with George here. They say that this issue is a Rorschach test for how voters view Clinton. If you don't like her, you see this, you like her less. If you do like her, you see this, you think it's a conspiracy against her. But look, I mean, there's little question that this underscores her weaknesses as a candidate. A campaign is not a court case. Public opinion is not a jury. She is unable to provide anything but these very legalistic answers when this topic comes up, and it continues to be a drag on her campaign. She can't put it behind her. Now, look, none of that may matter. Donald Trump is having problems that may surpass voters' views of this issue, but it is something that could follow her into the White House should she win. It's hard to get things done when voters don't trust you, and that's exactly what this issue speaks to, that weakness of hers.
Let's take a look not at the national polls, but at swing state polls that came out this week, because they were pretty alarming. Trump is now down 15 points in New Hampshire, down 11 points in Pennsylvania, down 9 points in Michigan, and down 6 points in Florida. Jerry, there's even a poll that shows Trump is down 4 points in reliably red Georgia. Yeah. This is trouble.
Well, and Utah is drifting the other way. The number in that group that ought to worry the Trump campaign the most, I think, is Florida. It's only 6. The other numbers are bigger. But it's for me, it's hard to put together the Electoral College map that wins for Trump without Florida. And the fact that he's down there is a bad sign. If he doesn't win Florida, it doesn't matter if he wins Pennsylvania. If he doesn't win Florida, he's not going to win Pennsylvania. So anyway, these are all leading indicators. I think when you step back from those numbers, one of the things you see is that what happened in the last week was that Hillary Clinton and the Democrats consolidated their base in the wake of their convention. The Republicans went in the opposite direction. Donald Trump is bleeding right now among some of his core supporters, white males, non-college educated voters. These are the people who are the Trump voters. That's where he's eroded in the last week or so since the conventions. That also may be the place where it's easier for him to recover.
I want to ask you, Lisa, about something, the thing that surprised me most in the previous segment, the debate, if you will, between Gingrich and Becerra, that Becerra, representing Clinton, went after Donald Trump's wife and her immigration status. Were you surprised by that?
No, because I think this is something that the Clinton campaign is starting an attack. And we've seen a lot of articles out there questioning her immigration status. And, you know, if proven, if their line of attack proves to be true, then that is a very damaging line of attack against Donald Trump, who has made immigration sort of the central point of his campaign. So, you know, clearly if there's enough information there, that's going to be devastating for his campaign. So I think it's sort of incumbent upon the Donald Trump campaign to prove them wrong and to put that information out there. And
I mean, we should point out that Melania Knauss, as her maiden name, came to this country long before she got involved with Donald Trump. Is this a new line of attack from the Clinton campaign?
Well, their goal is to make voters think that Donald Trump is not who he says he is. So he plays by different rules in his own life than he would as president and his policies. So you see that also with their attacks on his outsourcing. He wants to bring jobs to the U.S., they say, but Hillary Clinton has spent the past week slamming him for outmaking his products overseas and moving jobs to Bangladesh and China and all these places. So they're really trying to do what campaigns do at this stage in a presidential race, which is undercut his narrative, undercut his image. I think these attacks play into that.
George, final thought on Melania Trump's immigration status?
They may be doing that. They also may be trying to provoke him. He is provocable. And when he's provoked, he goes on Twitter. And when he goes on Twitter, he says interesting things that take up another 2 or 3 days. What, we're 90-some days, less than 90 days away from the election? We're not talking about 1.2% economic growth. We're not talking about the things that might embarrass Mrs. Clinton. We're talking about something that might detonate an easily detonated candidate.
Panel, we have to take a break here. We'll see you all a little bit later.